But when I was 7, I was treading on ants outside my house on a very hot day, and I suddenly heard a voice or something that made me stop. And this voice was sort of saying, what on earth are you doing? Why are you killing them? And at that point I realised I had no right to kill them. They weren't harming me, and I simply had to leave them alone. I wrote an essay at school saying that the dog shouldn't have been put up into space because the dog didn't want to go, and if humans wanted to go, then they should take the risk, but not assume another animal had to take the risk. Animals should have the right to live their life as long as they're not harming us, and usually they're not. The ones we eat, the ones we use, always seem to be the herbivores. Well, for a start, veganism is not just about what one eats. It's about what one wears, whether one uses animals or not. So a vegan lifestyle is more than just a diet. It's about whether you treat animals with respect and consider animals that have a right to live the way they choose to live. So most vegans wouldn't harm an animal or wouldn't use an animal or wouldn't want to be part of using an animal unless they were under attack. If someone attacks you, you fight back. But otherwise, you leave people alone, or you leave animals alone. You let them live their life. Right, I have a very simple lifestyle because I hate cooking, but a lot of vegans go to a lot of trouble because they enjoy cooking. Some of them make cakes, vegan cakes, and they're very popular. But I tend to have oats. I either cook them to make porridge and have them with cereal, or I sometimes don't cook them. I soak them overnight in fruit juice or soak them overnight in soya milk, then have them the next morning when they're softened with some other fruit, bananas. Then during the daytime I tend to have a salad just because it's easy and it involves less washing up. So I tend to have salads, especially in the summer. I just get leaves, bags of leaves, mix them with tofu, chopped tofu, hummus, tomatoes, cucumber chopped up. So that's basically what I eat. So it's very simple. If I want to change, but I don't get bored with it, I could add curry powder to make it curryish, and then cook some rice and have it with rice. My food is very bland because I don't add spices normally, apart from a bit of curry powder occasionally. I just like carrots to taste of carrots, cabbage to taste of cabbage. I think it was brilliant. So it's not a new one, but it's the first time I think it was called March for the Animals. And I believe the reason behind it was to include all animals, not just ones people eat, but animals that are used in vivisection laboratories or in circuses and zoos and other prisons. Yes, I would always tend to call myself an activist. More recently, there's been an upsurge in activism. Nowadays, there's DXE. They do demonstrations where they go into restaurants or cafes and they cause disruption for half an hour. Then they stand outside chanting. The whole point of their organisation is to cause disruption to the mainstream cafes or supermarkets to make people aware. They're ones where people are on the street with laptops, perhaps holding placards as well, with a simple word like truth and a bit of information about how dairy cows are treated. And the public see them holding the laptops and go over to them to say, what's the purpose of this? And then some of the people who aren't in the cube or in the lineup, sometimes there are leaflets as well, and sometimes there are samples of food. But the idea is to make the public aware of what goes on behind the scenes in factory farms or in slaughterhouses. I used to do meet-up groups at the Loving Hut, and I went there a few times because it was a vegan cafe. I'd been going there fairly regularly because we started to have meetups there. I still carried on doing the meetups, and Sandra now runs the meetup that I used to do. Find vegan contacts. Make sure you've got friends who are vegan. The Vegan Society will put you in touch with a local vegan contact so that they can support you. So there will be support if you look for it.